Welcome back to The Details, our film session breakdown of the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Jesse Newell, Kansas City Star beat reporter. I'm joined once again by Brett Taveau, the author of Unpacking Greatness, a Kansas City Chiefs book you can find on Amazon, also a longtime offensive coordinator in high school. Brett, you ready to write down some more film?
I am ready, man. Let's go.
Well, this one is a fun one because kind of an overlooked play, I think, Brett. We're going to play it through here. The
Yep.
Chiefs had the victory over the Chargers, but this play, the end of the third quarter, 17-14, the Chiefs face 3rd-and-10 at the 37-yard line of the Chargers. And if you don't get this one, you're sending in a kicker you just signed the week before for a long field goal. So this was a very important play for the Chiefs to get this first down and pick it up from Patrick Mahomes to Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you're sending him out. You're sending Amendola out for a very, very difficult task, or you're having to go for it on fourth down, which against that defense, it's tough as well. So, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and let's break this play down because this is the Hank concept. So I know you drew this up and I got this diagram going for us. Can you explain a little bit what the Hank concept is and kind of what you're looking at if you're the Chiefs on this particular play, what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, sure thing. This is an old West Coast staple. They call it Hank, which is phonetic for hook. You see the Y there running it's called a spot route or OTB route over the ball. Generically, it was called a hook, and then the X and Z are running curls. Obviously, curl starts with a C, but the phonetics of it, hook, curl, Hank. So that's kind of what it became known as in the universal language of football, if there is such a thing. But what this does, it really stretches three deep zone coverage underneath. As you can see, there are 5 receivers 12 yards and underneath here as defenses. I got this drawn up as cover 3 here, which we see kind of a variation, a little bit different type of coverage from the Chargers, which we can see on the tape. But your typical cover 3, and you've got, as I said, 5 receivers for 4 underneath zone defenders, and you see the nickel and the bandit here, which is the B to the boundary. It's like the weak side safety rolled down. They're responsible for both the curl and the flat in this cover 3 here. So the idea behind Hank is to hold the Mike and the Sam, the hook defenders, with the OTB or spot route right there. And then you've got your curls on the outside and flats. So you're putting one receiver in each of the zones that the nickel and the bandit is responsible to cover. And they're kind of in what, it's hard for them to win because they've got to kind of choose, so to speak. You're putting a horizontal stretch on those defenders there. And we'll see that on the tape.
Yeah, and this can sound confusing. Let's go ahead and get to the tape and break down exactly what this looks like, because on video, you can really see how this opens up and how the Chiefs scheme this sort of thing open. So again,
yeah,
3rd-and-10. Yep.
3rd-and-10 here. So the Chiefs are in what's called a condensed formation or compressed. They bring in all the receivers and tight ends, and they've got all 11 players very close together here. Two reasons to do that. You can get chips here, as we're going to see with different players to help with the pass rush. And then also these compressed formations are difficult to defend in man coverage because it's a lot easier to rub and cross out of these than they are traditional formations. So the Chiefs line up in this compressed 2x2 set, which they run a lot of.
And a good assist here from MVS and Kelsey be team players because, again, getting these chips on these outside rushers, Bosa and Mack, really good. They were kind of creating some havoc for the Chiefs earlier. You're being team players here to kind of do this, as we see here, to get these chips in before you got on your route.
Yeah, for sure. You got 2 $15 million pass rushers there that were causing problems a good part of the night, particularly Bosa. So having 3rd-and-10, that's why they pay those guys those big salaries to tee off.
So here's kind of the radars. Here's kind of the radar we're talking about, Brett. This is the curl route they're trying to get to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the ideal, and they're going from a compressed formation here. So you're going to see Hardman turn to the outside. If you rewind it, Jesse, to the start, the ideal, the sweet spot of these curl routes is kind of on the inside of the numbers or halfway between the hash and the numbers. So Hardman, because he's to the field, he's got to turn outside in order to get to that sweet spot, so to speak. So he's kind of running what's called a curl corner. Or excuse me, a corner curl. He's going to act like he's going to the corner of the flag and then turn to the outside where you see Juju on the bottom. He's going to turn to the inside because he's to the boundary. So that's why they turn different directions.
And real quick, field and boundary. Field means the farther side of the field, so you have more field to work with. Boundary is the shorter side of the field. So the Chiefs started this play on the left hash mark. The field is going to be farther, and that's where Hardman is. So let's get back to how they space this thing out. Number one, we got McKinnon come up the middle here. He's going to take this middle linebacker.
Yeah, so it's very important to occupy, and the slide that we showed on the last screen, the Y was running the OTB of their spot route, which is to occupy. Now this is a different type of coverage. This is a three deep, three under, and then you have a very, very deep post player here. So you only have to occupy one inside defender instead of two, like you saw in the original slide. But it's important because if he's not occupied, he's just reading the eyes of Mahomes and possibly can impact that throw to the curl.
So we got the next part of this, which is these guys, after they chip, they get out to the flat, and watch what happens. These guys follow them, which again is going to open up that radar we talked about earlier.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, those curl flat defenders in underneath zone coverage, they're taught that they're going to hold the curl, and you know, I can imagine that in their defensive film review, they're probably being coached, hey, you need to hold the curl, make the quarterback throw the flat, and then let's rally and play on 4th and 5 is probably what their defensive coaches are telling them. But they are pulled out by the flat routes, as you saw here, which is going to open up these curl windows for both of them.
And it's tough because Travis Kelce, like, you don't want to leave Travis Kelce open. So you can say that in the film sessions, but it's probably pretty tough when that guy's running in front of you. You don't want to give him a big start and potentially have the chance to rally for a first down here. So the next part about this that we've got is Mahomes. He has to help out with his eyes as well.
Yeah, and you can really see it from the end zone copy. I know you and I both looked at that. He really holds that middle of the field player with his eyes to keep him. Yeah, you can really see it here. He's straight down the middle of the field. And he holds him, and then he's one hitch. He knows that curl window is going to be there.
So, yeah, you can definitely see on this replay here, right there, middle of the field, boom, eyes out to the outside. You see that with Mahomes, and again, him be able to manipulate defenses.
Absolutely.
And that's that guy right there, as we see in the yellow black in the middle. So then, what do you have here? Not only do you have one guy open, you have the Chiefs running this route, and by spacing out the field in these routes we talked about, they've got two guys open.
Yeah, just a huge conversion, as we said. You know, if you don't make this, it's you know, you're not in a good situation on 4th down. But one of the things Hardman does is he's able to. You've got to create a little bit of cushion with your corner routes. And I don't know if that's Jackson or the other corner that I think that was Jackson, but he creates a little bit of cushion, about 4 yards of cushion there to allow that ball to get in there. If they're not pressing vertical and that corner is not forced to honor the vertical space, then he's going to be able to close on that route.
Yeah, so one more look at this thing, and we'll go both from the angle view here and the outside view. But again, looks like a simple completion. You're wondering why. Hey, why are the Chargers not here guarding this guy at the sticks? It looks like an easy throw from Mahomes, but again, lots goes into this. A lot of scheming to get these guys out of their different zones to open up this curl. Again, Mecole going to the exact right spot, and then Mahomes hitting him right when he turns around.
Yeah, it's timing so critical. If you're a touch late with that throw, then you're increasing the odds of that corner is going to be able to stick his foot in the ground and drive and possibly break up that pass there. But these chips, if we can just look at the chips from the end zone, they don't look like much. But if you just, I mean, you watch MVS's chip here, it's not very good at all. He just gets a slight piece of Osa. But what it does is it slows him down enough to where Brown is able to engage. It kills both the bull rush and the speed rush because they're slowed down out of the gate. Well, and the Chiefs do a ton of chipping, whether it be with the running back or tight ends, or you see it right there with receivers. They you know, it's like it doesn't matter what we can draw up, who can get open downfield. If we can't protect, it's not going to matter.
Well, again, lots going into this and looks simple on the surface, but as you see, like 3 different levels of plays, assists from your tight end and your receiver being willing to chip, and then spacing out and having threats like Kelce to open up this curl window results in a completion for the Chiefs. And obviously getting down the field, they kick the game tying field goal that possession, able to get the pick six later to take advantage. So,
and hey, Jesse, real quick, I looked in the book and I ran the numbers on this concept from last year. The Chiefs were 7 of 11 on 3rd down. So they converted 7 out of 11 times running this Hank concept. Not all of them were compressed. I think 8 of them were out of this compressed look. They really like to run it out of that. A very successful concept for them on 4th down when they need 8 to 12 yards.
Yeah, West Coast staple, as you said, and that's kind of Andy Reid's roots again. So a successful conversion for the Chiefs. A perfect call at the right time. And again, really good execution from Mahomes, from Hardman, and then even guys like MVS and Travis Kelce playing their roles in this one to make sure that this completion went through. The Chiefs didn't have to try a crazy 54-yard field goal with their new kicker, Matt Amendola. That's going to wrap it up for the details. I appreciate your time, Brett. Thanks for checking out here at the Kansas City Star.